Alright. Hello, everybody. Hello, Apparition, OA, Void Dweller, Guppy Force, and Jackie. Welcome back to Seabed. Oh my god, this is starting to get absolutely nuts. And something that was posted in the Discord that absolutely shocked me was that the game was almost over. And I was like, what? Like I was told maybe 5 more streams, including this one, which is something I absolutely cannot possibly conceive of. It feels like we just got to the halfway point. I would never, or at least 2/3. But oh my god. Seriously? And it feels like we just learned a whole bunch of shit about how the world is structured. Anyway, last time, Narasaki is some kind of crazy higher level construct being of Sachiko, and maybe she was created by Sachiko. Maybe she came in from the outside. And she basically offered Sachiko a choice. In that you can stay inside this inner world, inside your mind, and basically your body would be living without a consciousness, which I gotta say would be kind of terrifying. And, jeez. For other people around her, I guess, or go back to the real world and seal this off forever. And somehow Narasaki has the ability to go wherever she wants. Around this world. She can go in and out of it as she wishes, and my god, and Takako's world is apparently connected as well. We knew it was connected, but Narasaki knows about it, which is really shocking. I'm just trying to wrap my head around all of this, and I'm like, where do we even begin? My god, and the tips, where do the tips fit into this? Hello T, welcome to the stream. I just can't wait to see where the story goes. So it seems like Narasaki might be some kind of antagonist here. But, we'll see what happens. Alright, so let's get back to Seabed. Warning. Who's gonna be warned? Is it gonna be Narasaki or Nanai? Let's see. The lights weren't on in the corridor leading to the lobby, so I couldn't see very far. Making my way down the corridor, I managed to reach the lobby. A grandfather clock towered to my right. Its arrows displayed the time as 4 o'clock. Oh, damn, that's kind of spooky right there, to see her like that. Thinking about just how much time I had until sunrise, I was just about to ascend the stairway when I noticed the silhouette of someone behind the counter. Hey Lily, how are you doing? Good evening. The silhouette addressed me in Lily's voice. Good evening. Nana was really worried when y'all didn't show up for dinner. With no moonlight, it was darker inside the lobby than outside. As a result, even though my eyes had grown used to the dark outside, I still couldn't make her out very well in the room. I couldn't tell what kind of expression she wore, but despite the reprimanding content of her words, I felt a gentle and caring air from her. I made a sour face. I felt like a kid that broke a curfew. I'm sorry. Lily turned to the side and made a light yawn. Have you been waiting for me here all this time? Lily slowly shook her head. Oh, I woke up in the middle of the night and decided to simply kill some time here. I wonder if I'm getting old. Whenever this happens, I usually come here to think. Still, I did have a feeling y'all'd be coming back. So that was part of the reason too, sugar. What do you normally think about here? Oh, all sorts of things. Lily didn't say anything else. She must have fallen deep in thought. Her whisper reached my ears, even from this distance. However, compared to that whisper, some of her previous words would pass by me and go too far, or wouldn't reach me properly. She appeared to have been testing how low her voice could go with me still hearing it. Almost like she was fine-tuning a sonar system. Interesting. That was a bit too complicated for me. So instead, I simply walked over to the counter where I could finally see her sitting in a chair. She looked up at me. Now, what were y'all doing outside at such a late hour, pray tell? I went out for a walk, but I ended up getting lost in someone's consciousness. Lily's expression clouded over. Oh, not many people come to our mountains, which made the area a relatively popular suicide spot. Really? Now, as y'all can see, we don't have that many guests at this inn. Usually only 2 or 3, even during the high season. How do they stay in business? And most of them are our regulars. It's rare to even have a single guest during the off-season. I was fine, though. That I can see. As I imagined what Lily could be thinking about here at night, she continued. Now, I've been working here for a long time, sugar. I've seen many guests that came back and many that didn't. Damn, that's terrifying. Holy shit. What kind of guests didn't come back? Some we found, others we didn't. Lily said with a sigh. I remember the mountain I saw from the mansion's window. It was covered with trees from top to bottom. Couldn't even make out the roads. It couldn't have been easy to find a person in there. Jeez, okay, that's a very concerning stare. Can I tell y'all something odd? Sure. Now, in retrospect, all those guests had a peculiar air that separated them from the rest. Well, I'd imagine they'd come off as different compared to regular tourists. Now, I suppose so, but I don't think it's that simple, sugar. Now, it wasn't just their personality or a few individual quirks. When I saw them, the difference I'd feel was about as large and obvious as a sudden change of color or shape on an object. How do I look to you? Now, I don't want y'all to take this the wrong way, but I noticed that y'all have the same kind of air about you. Although, there's something unusual about it in your case, honey. When I first saw you, I only felt that way about half of you. I see. So yeah, she is some kind of alternate personality. Well, long story short, I was worried for y'all too, though maybe in a slightly different way from Nanai. Perhaps what she was saying was the truth. I grew curious about her method of sensing those things, but it probably wasn't something that could be explained overnight.
Your face is all red, sugar,
Lily suddenly said. I touched my cheek, feeling it cold as ice. I might have been warmly dressed, but I did spend most of the night outside. A fairly natural consequence, but being so deep in thought, I didn't notice it at all.
Now, I think y'all should take a shower before going to bed. Do y'all want me to heat up that bath?
No, I'll be fine. I waved my hand in denial while she made a troubled expression.
Then, can I at least make y'all something warm to drink?
I'd love that. I felt like I'd make her worry even more if I refused, so I had her deliver the drink to my room. I turned on the heater as I returned to the room and changed into my inside clothes. I combed my hair for a while, then tidied up my room to kill some time. I moved everything from the table, as well as the coat on the chair, out of sight. Finishing that, I looked out the window. It was dark outside. I couldn't even see the moon. Lily knocked on my door. As I took the tray from her, she glanced at the heater in my room.
Now, it shouldn't grow much colder tonight, but it's a good idea to keep the heater on when you sleep.
I nodded.
Y'all can keep the tray in your room.
Oh, thank you very much.
See you, sugar. Stay safe. And don't mention it,
said Lily with a smile. She then closed the door. Hey AJ, welcome to the stream. You're going to be totally lost if you haven't seen the previous ones. Oh my god. I placed the tray on the table, sat down in the nearby chair, and picked up the cup. It warmed my frozen hand through the porcelain coating. I could tell by the sweet smell that the liquid inside was cocoa. There was also a small plate on the tray with cookies and strawberry jam, or at least some sweets that looked very much like that. I gave the cookies a careful look as I continued sipping my cocoa. A lot happened tonight. That's the understatement of the century. Jesus Christ. It felt like it had been ages since I'd been to this room. Oh, really, AJ? That's sweet of you. Thank you. I thought about Sachiko. I felt responsible for her ending up in that dark cave. It wasn't Nanai's words that caused it at all.
Interesting.
Huh. Regardless of what happened, there was no way she could have reached the cave leading to the other side all by herself. It was a place for... Okay. Now we're getting some answers here. It was a place for beings like myself, and only I could have known the way to it. What are you, Narasaki? Narasaki, what are you? I didn't know how, but my existence probably led her there somehow. When I came to, I realized that both the cup and the sweet plate were empty. Walking for so long must have made me hungrier than I thought. I glanced at the bed, but didn't feel sleepy at all. After thinking for a few moments, I placed the empty cup on the tray, picked it up, and then left the room.
Oh, where's she going?
Lily was still behind the counter in the lobby when I came down the stairs.
Is something the matter, sugar?
Thank you very much for the treats.
Having a hard time falling asleep?
asked Lily as she took the tray from me and shoved it in the cupboard. Seems that way.
Oh, shucks. I might not be the one to talk, but it's healthier to go to sleep while it's still dark.
I agree, I said with a nod, then asked if it wasn't colder in here.
Oh, I'm used to it, sugar. It doesn't bother me when I'm so deep in thought.
Why do you do your thinking here in the lobby?
Oh, that is a good question. It would take a while to explain, though.
How long exactly?
Quite long. I wouldn't want y'all to freeze to death while listening to me, at any rate.
She said we would have plenty more opportunities to talk. However, I didn't feel like being alone right now. Besides, there was something I wanted to ask her. Can we maybe talk in my room then? Lily paused to think for a few seconds, then asked me if I wanted more cocoa.
Yes, please.
Lily nodded.
Then we can talk until we finish the cup. Actually, I was getting bored here by myself, too.
Lily stood up, took out the tray from the cupboard again, and stepped out from behind the counter. I returned to my room and turned up the heat a bit. I waited in front of it until I heard a knock at the door. Opening the door, I saw Lily standing there in an apron. There were 2 cups on the tray she carried, as well as a cloth bag hanging from her right elbow.
I'm trying to differentiate Lily's voice from her niece, from Nanai. So I'm making her a bit more deep and more adult because she's older. Sorry, AJ.
We sat down at the table facing each other. Lily handed me one of the cups, then picked up the other one and took a sip.
Oh, back in the past, my friend would go out at night just like y'all. And I'd wait for her in the lobby like this. Y'all have to pass by it regardless of which entrance you use.
Who was it?
Oh, the same friend I mentioned to y'all before. The one that went missing.
I remembered Lily's horror story from 2 days ago. So that was a real story after all?
Oh, I dramatized it a little. But it's true that my friend disappeared. Y'all may remember how I said that she and I both lived here for a long time. So there was no need to worry about her getting lost or anything, but that time, it was different. It happened shortly after a young daughter passed away.
How did she pass away?
She drowned in a river. Oh my God. Now, I almost couldn't believe it at first, as the rivers here are really shallow. We had lots of rain over a period of a few weeks, and the increase in water apparently loosened the riverbed. It was like she stepped into quicksand and ended up being sucked underwater. My friend's husband passed away sometime before that, too. Anyway, she was severely depressed during that period.
Lily picked up her cup, which reminded me that I hadn't even started my drink yet. Either way, I lifted up my cup as well. The sweet aroma of the cocoa washed over my nostrils as I drew the cup closer to my lips.
She was always such a high-spirited and cheerful person, but after the incident, she began shutting herself up in her room. When we'd meet once in a blue moon, she would barely speak. One day, Around the time I started thinking about how I should do something for her, before things spiraled out of control, I spotted her going out to the inner yard. Now, when I approached her, she actually had her usual cheerful expression. I asked her what she was doing, and she told me she spotted a rare butterfly through her window.
A butterfly?
Yes, she used to collect insects as a hobby. I asked her if she wanted me to bring an insect net, but she refused. Anyway, seeing her like that relieved me a little. I figured she managed to go over it somehow. She resumed her work as usual and went back to talking like she used to. Hell, she even began smiling again.
I heard a clang. I glanced down to see Lily's cup on the tray.
But after a few days, she went outside and never came back.
I couldn't see what was inside her cup.
Now, I thought about all sorts of things as I waited for her at the counter. Where was she right now? Why didn't you tell me anything? What was the name of that rare butterfly she spotted?
You didn't go looking for her?
Oh, sugar, I looked for her everywhere I could think of, but I had a feeling I wouldn't find her. I didn't really think she'd returned, even when I was waiting in that lobby. I don't know why I felt that way, but I was almost certain I was right. But I didn't have a similar feeling, nor did I suspect anything back when she was still around. So I think the cause that made her disappear lies somewhere beyond my knowledge. Maybe somewhere in her room, seeing how she used to lock herself up in there ever so often.
I felt my throat getting dry, so I took a sip of cocoa.
I think I'll do the same, for the same reason. But I digress. Y'all may want to know why I spend my nights behind the counter. Probably because that place has always been where I spend the most time thinking.
I wondered if she was still waiting for a friend. But it wasn't really my business to pry. Instead, I asked about something I found curious. The premonition you were talking about. That was the same feeling you talked about when I came back tonight, correct?
Yeah.
You said that only half of me made you feel it, though.
It was very odd, I admit.
How about now?
I don't feel it that strongly anymore.
The anxiety in my heart lit up with her words. That half had probably been me. If her intuition was on point, the only remaining issue was the question of my existence. I see. I grew curious about the exact mechanism that drove her premonition, but I didn't feel she'd be able to explain it in a manner comprehensible to me.
That's right.
Lily raised her face as she pulled out something from the bag she had placed by her chair. It was the doll I gave her 2 days ago.
I'll return this to y'all.
I took the doll from her hands and gave it a look.
Oh, she repaired it. Oh, that's lovely.
But this almost sounds like the story of when they were kids.
That is so weird.
This really sounds like the story of when they were kids. The stains had vanished, along with any trace of loose threads. It looked more colorful than before. You actually had to straighten your eyes to make out any traces of the stain at the doll's mouth.
Now, what do y'all think? I couldn't completely get rid of all the stains, but I still think it came out pretty well.
I'll be honest. I never expected it to be this clean.
I'm glad to hear that.
I looked at the doll's face one more time. Its perpetual smile seemed to beam with pride. Jeez, my throat, sorry. Looking at its face made me feel a mixture of sadness and bittersweet joy. So much so that I ended up knitting my brows.
Well, I suppose it was about time I was on my way.
Lily placed her empty cup in the saucer beneath it on the tray. I gulped down the remaining cocoa still left at the bottom of my cup. Glider, you want to do that too? Sure thing. A little bit left. It felt like ice. Did you invite me for tea because I gave you that feeling?
Oh, back then I was just curious about Nana's new friend.
Yeah, she definitely shares a body with Sachiko. How did that even work? That's insane. Is she really an alternate personality? But she's like an alternate personality plus. Like, she has these crazy powers to go inside her mind and shit. And go into alternate worlds and shit like that. Like, my god. I placed my empty cup on the tray. However, Lily remained seated. What about when she went to the doctor's office? Who the hell's office was that? Her eyes traveled between the doll and my face.
Now, y'all think I'm strange, but
What is it?
now it's the first time I told anyone about this. I might have all sorts of feelings and premonitions, but I normally keep them to myself.
Then why did you tell me?
Oh, y'all reminded me of my friend. A lot. And I thought to keep this to myself, but
She's noticing something. Like, does she look like Narasaki right now? Or does she still look like Sachiko? Lily's gaze shifted to the doll.
now, I never learned why my friend left us, but in y'all case, I feel like it's somehow related to that doll.
I was flabbergasted by the keenness of her intuition. However, I made sure not to let the surprise show on my face. Her remark completely overlapped with my own conclusion. Why do you think that?
Oh, it's mostly just my intuition, but after my friend's daughter passed away, she carried a memento of hers everywhere. I felt like this doll had a similar history.
I see. Lily's dark brown eyes gazed at the doll. It belongs to my friend. I, too, shifted my eyes to the clean doll. She would confide in it when things got tough. But I don't think she needs it anymore. She's not exactly at an age to play with dolls anymore. And I feel the doll itself is getting frustrated by not being able to do anything to help.
I see.
Lily made a faint smile. She stood up with her bag hanging from her elbow and picked up the tray. I did the same and opened the door for her. Thanks. I saw a whole bunch of leaves scattered by the door. Oh, damn it, who's talking? Fuck. I'm guessing this is Narasaki. I saw a whole bunch of leaves scattered by the door. Are you going to clean them up tomorrow morning too?
Yes. What about y'all?
I'll go for a walk after I get some sleep.
Now that's a good idea. Let's have another chat if the opportunity swings by.
Sure.
Good night. So long, farewell. I'm free to sing good night.
And with that, Lily left the room. After saying goodbye, I closed the door.
Okay, are we going to go back to Takako or Sachiko?
Let's see.
All right. Okay, tips 2, the revenge of tips. Okay, at the end of the second trip was unlocked. Okay, so these are, I believe tips 2 was from Nanai's perspective. All right, so as soon as it lets me, we'll save. Yep, it's Sachiko. It's so annoying that you can't get to the tips through the main menu. That's like, again, the only complaints I have about this game are technical. Everything else is amazing. Here we go. I don't know who's talking right here. Wake up, it looks incredible outside. I'm guessing this is still from Nanai's perspective. Feeling like someone was calling out to me, I opened my eyes. Seats of the bus trembled as the driver skillfully navigated through the crooked country road. I had finally managed to fall asleep just earlier, but I didn't feel like I could repeat the feat again. Resigning myself to that fate, I instead looked out the window. There was no point to even confirm that the seat next to me had been unoccupied. The voice that woke me up came from a distant memory. A friend that used to be by my side was no longer there. I said that, but it wasn't like she had passed away or anything. It was just that one day she forgot all her memories about me. The memory loss disease! She probably did it consciously, too. No, I couldn't understand the reason why. We'd known each other ever since we were little. She'd always been a little strange, but I simply couldn't imagine her ending up like that, given her personality. The bus finally reached a mountain path. Looking out the window, I started spotting some patches of snow as we drove uphill. The amount of snow increased the higher we went. By the time my ears started ringing from the pressure difference between the lowlands and the mountain, snow walls around the road had exceeded the bus's height. Now, I remember my friend saying how the sight reminded her of Moses and the Red Sea. The tour conductor stood up from her seat and began talking about our trip. Basically, we could do for whatever we want, as long as we returned to the bus on time. She then began explaining the 2 alternate courses the passengers were free to choose from. One for beginners and one for people who aren't pussies. The bus stopped at almost the same time as their explanation ended. The tour guide reminded us of departure time one more time before the bus doors opened. Hello, Blue Shifting. Welcome to the stream. The passengers scattered, each of them going in their chosen direction. Reminiscing about the last time I'd been here, I turned 360 degrees, taking snow panorama surrounding me. The sky was clear and blue above the white mountains, just like back then. Hey, so where do we go for a beginner's course? She asked me. I don't know who she's talking about. Weren't y'all listening? Well, I wasn't. I thought you would anyway. I don't know who this is. I guess we both got a bit overly excited about snow. I deflected. Oh, well then let's follow where everyone's going. Now, I didn't want to panic over small details like this, and she wasn't the type to complain about them either. We found the longest train of people nearby and mixed in with them, eventually entering a relatively small wooden structure. Inside, we found a souvenir store and a cable car station. We observed a line of tourists buying tickets for the cable car. After Seabed is going to be, Void Dweller, I may as well say it now, is going to be Ever 17. Something I've been excited to play for a long, long, long time. I love the works of Kotaro Uchikoshi, and this is one of his earliest games. And I can't wait. It looks like everybody knows about this game but me. I have no idea about it, other than the fact that it takes place in like some kind of underwater thing. We did the same and lined up behind him. From a closer look, I realized it was a trolley bus, not a cable car. I checked the faces of people around us as we waited. I hadn't memorized the faces of our tour mates, but I was pretty sure I'd never seen these people before. Seemed like we had mixed in with an entirely different group. Now, she was looking around us as well, probably thinking the same thing. I've never ridden a trolley bus before, she said. Me neither. It seemed like she had grown a little worried. Looks like it's going through a tunnel, I said. Huh, she replied. It's not science adventure. Now, once the trolley bus had parked next to us, we boarded it with the rest of the tourists. The seat at the front was open, so I sat down there. We had the same spot back then, too. The same speedometer caught my eyes back then. The tunnel I could see through the front window was dark and narrow. Being in a bus racing through that tunnel at a relatively high speed was quite thrilling. Back then, I really didn't have time to enjoy it, though. Now, we were looking at the trolley bus timetable to confirm whether we could get back to our bus in time. But we weren't sure what to do or how long it would all take. It was called the Infinity Series, Jackie. So we couldn't even make an educated guess. Trolley bus stopped. We arrived at a place that looked a lot like a wooden structure we'd left, with an almost identical souvenir store and bus station. Now, relying on my old memories, I left the souvenir store and ascended the concrete stairs. I opened the door at the top of the stairs and entered a lookout area. Dark mountain range extended in front of me in the distance. Uh-oh, music stopped. Lookout was built at an angle and allowed a full view of the mountains, provided that the weather was clear. Layers of snow covered the mountains like a set of beautiful white roots, sparkling under the blue sky. Now, I had been to a lot of places, but nowhere else could I see colors like that. Confirming that the scenery hadn't changed over the years, I drew away from the railing and found a bench to sit down on further back. This time, I simply took in the scenery over the heads of some other tourists. Eventually, a group came in through the door and completely blocked my field of view. A guide began introducing the mountain, talking over gasps of awe from the newcomers. I closed my eyes, forming the scenery of the mountain in my mind, as well as myself sitting next to my friend.
Interesting. So Nana lost someone as well to the memory disease. That's another thing we have to cover. Like, what's up with the memory disease?
Unable to find the words to express myself, I simply shifted my eyes from one corner of the breathtaking scenery to another. She was better with words than me, so I gave up on coming with someone to do the scenery justice, and instead waited for her to say something. However, as unusual as that was, she remained silent as well. Instead, she seemed to be too taken in by the scenery to talk. Mountains were indeed amazing, but she was also gazing at the white plains extending below them.
There she is. There's Lily. I thought these were Nana, but they were Lily. Okay, I was confused. This was Lily, not Nana. Okay, well, their voices are very similar. Good thing. Okay, I was close. Jeez. Okay. Okay, so the friend she's talking about is the friend that, the one that went missing and never found again. I'm assuming.
The guide's speech ended and the lookout fell silent as the group left. Only a few families that didn't seem to belong to any group still lingered around.
You're not going to join the walk down, young lady?
Asked a man that had unexpectedly sat down beside me a bit earlier. Now, I was in my late 20s at the time, so I looked around to confirm whether it wasn't addressing someone else.
I don't know, that's kind of young.
But there was no one else around me, so I nodded.
Oh, damn. Uh-oh.
I had a closer look. The man looked like he was in his 50s or 60s.
Damn, I've been in this situation before. Oh, God. Yeah, you just politely refuse and you walk away. Oh, boy. Who knows? He might be friendly, though. He might be have nice intentions, just to be nice.
His thick, naked wrists peeking out from under his coat indicated that he either did sports or worked in the fields. Both required quite a bit of physical strength.
Scenery is amazing down there. You almost wouldn't believe it's Japan.
What about y'all? Are you not going? Now, I didn't have much experience speaking to someone in his age group, which made me somewhat hesitant. Nonetheless, I ended up responding to him anyway. I ran out of breath, so I decided to take a break here. Besides, I've already been there like 100 times. The man looked at me.
You don't look like a part of the tour. Are you traveling alone?
Oh, God. That's an interesting question to ask. Oh, boy.
I wore weathered clothes that favored mobility over style. I had a large backpack on my shoulders, so I must have looked like a wilderness camper, truth be told. I suppose y'all could say that.
How long have you been traveling?
Oh, about half a year now.
That's nice,
said the man. He then went on.
It's best to travel while you're still young. Do you have a goal of some sort?
I mulled over his question for a bit. I began my trip because I thought it would help me understand why my friend had lost all her memories of me. It was prompted by my trip to a zoo half a year ago. That day, I felt like I saw a side of her and I'd never known before. And I felt like I could find out even more if I retraced our shared steps. It was hard to explain it in concrete terms, though. I thought about it some more on my train ride home, but I couldn't come up with anything in the end. Then, I figured I'd get off at the same station we used in the past. I guess I really don't have much of a goal. I just got a long break off from work, so I gave him one side of the story. The man continued to ask me questions for some time. I told him about the route that led me here, and mentioned a few things that happened along the way. As I ran out of things to discuss and fell silent, the man glanced at the clock.
Is he saying that?
Oh, she's saying that, okay. Would y'all like to read a book? I reached into my backpack and took out a paperback novel I've been reading on the bus.
I don't care much for books. They're all just a pack of lies anyway.
Okay, jeez. What did a book... Like, was your family killed by a rogue pack of books or something? Like, seriously, did you used to work at, like, a library and, like, your family was inundated by a tragic shelf collapse accident? Jeez.
He shifted his gaze to the dam at the bottom of the mountain range.
I've been using the wrong voice for this guy.
Back when I was a young'un, we didn't have electricity here. Small villages all had diesel plants, but they kept failing all the time. So when I was in elementary school, I had my teacher tell them all about how the engines worked. They weren't all that complicated, but without any knowledge, even the easiest fix would be a huge hurdle, let me tell you.
Are y'all a mechanic?
No, I didn't become that. We didn't have any electricity, but we were short on food, too. So I worked in the fields, and would go sell the extra yield to the neighboring villages. And, well, I couldn't tell you what they learned about me, knowing a thing or two about gizmos, but one day they asked me to fix a power plant.
Damn, a power plant? That sounds like a whole different level than fixing random machines.
I see. Now he was telling me about a time long before I was born. I understood why I specialized in the sciences, but that didn't explain why I didn't like books. Could be just a generation gap.
Oh, damn, okay.
Well, all things have a reason,
The man said.
There we go, the freaking, what is the trope called? A wham sentence or something? That is like the recurring important words in this game.
Now, I couldn't tell whether he was talking about the fact that he didn't like books, or if he had already returned to the issue of my trip not having a goal. Before I had the chance to confirm that, it was time for me to board my trolley bus.
Arc words, that's it. Oh wait, thanks.
I said goodbye to the man and descended from the lookout. I returned to the bus stop in the wooden building and killed some time in the souvenir store while waiting for the trolley bus to come. I spotted some cookies and chocolate named after the location. Y'all can see those a lot in a place like this. There were also some local character goods. I personally found the plushie of a snow chicken particularly cute.
Oh, wow, that be adorable. Oh my god! Oh! That sounds adorable. Is that a real thing? Oh my god.
It was a bird whose feathers would turn white in the winter. There was a big statue of it by the entrance. There were also some pictures of it for sale. Now, I suddenly realized my friend was probably looking for this bird from the lookout. I didn't realize it back then, but it was quite obvious in retrospect, given how much of a bird lover she was. My trolley bus would soon arrive, so I moved over to the bus stop.
I wonder. There was someone else who loved birds. It was either Sanai or Kozue. It was one of those two. Wouldn't it be mind-blowing if it turned out one of those two was her friend that disappeared? That would be insane. Oh. I wonder. Sanai or... It's gonna be Sanai or Kozue. That's gonna be your friend that disappeared. That would be sweet if it was, because she might be able to reunite with her.
Now, my trolley bus would soon arrive, so I moved over to the bus stop. I ended up not buying anything. I almost bought a tasteless-looking battery. I have no idea what a battery is. And then I remembered seeing it cheaper at the main station, which made me change my mind. I decided to buy it later so I could join the comfort of my train compartment on the way back. I was the first person to board the bus. I took my seat and waited. Now this time, I spotted some familiar faces among the people who boarded after me. Once the time came to leave and the other tours had assembled, the guide made sure that everyone was present. After that, the bus rolled out of the station and towards its next destination.
Battera is a type of sushi. Okay, thanks, Jackie.
It was the highest waterfall in the country.
Damn, that would be cool. My family went to Niagara Falls exactly once. But there was also a place in in Pennsylvania that was close enough that my family would often go on day trips to, where we would stay in the hotel overnight, called Bushkill Falls in Pennsylvania. And that was I gotta say, it was I hated hiking. I still do, because I'm a lazy ass, but God damn it, Gummy Force. She's saying, like, I thought Battera was the protagonist of Umineko. Yes, who threw me a Battera? Hilarious, Gummy Force. Oh my god. Oh my god. But anyway, Bushkill Falls, they had a whole this whole area filled with lovely waterfalls, and I like that part. But my favorite part of those vacations was staying in the hotel. And for me as a little kid, with my whole family of 4, with my sister and me and my parents staying in one hotel room, that was just the best thing ever. Seriously. I love that so much. Ooh, ouch, Void Dweller. That sucks. Oh, God. And, I don't know, just family vacations were the best. Like, now that I'm married, like, my significant other kind of agrees with me about, like, how much they love vacations. Like, we're too poor to really go on any, but we did manage a couple of hotel stays the years back. Again, the hotel is my favorite part. I just love hotel rooms. And now with the internet, even the TV is much less of an issue. Anyway, back to the story. I've been rambling a bit. Just one other quick thing I just wanted to say. Like, I remember a couple of times I took my old laptop, and I remember playing games of not Team Fortress 2, Age of Empires 2, in whole games of it in the hotel room as my parents were deciding what to do, and just relaxing on the bed playing Age of Empires 2 in the hotel room. That was fucking paradise. Oh my god. Seriously. Anyway, now back to the story.
Last time, she made the 30-minute trip up that perilous mountain path all by herself, just to reach the waterfall at the end of it. I'd given up as soon as I saw the slope and waited for her at a nearby cafe. This time, I'll go where she went. I glanced at the neighboring seat. She looked out the window with narrowed eyes. "We should bring a pair of sunglasses next time," she remarked.
Oh, goddamn, that was the very end of the tip. I could have just said all this afterwards. Okay. And now back to the main story. Back to Sachiko.
As I rolled around in bed, the sheets slid down my shoulder. I opened my eyes and sat up. The decorative plant with heart-shaped leaves and the sheep figurine sparkled in the morning sun, making me narrow my eyes. I placed a palm on my empty stomach. I felt like it could start rumbling at any second now. Did I have anything for dinner? Before I knew it, the world beyond the window had turned snow white. Some frost had formed on the window glass and was sparkling in the sun. I gazed at it for a few minutes, then climbed out of bed. The sweet aroma of coffee filled the cafeteria when I stepped inside. I spotted Nana sleeping at a seat by the window, with her head resting on the windowsill. There was a plate with a piece of toast on the table, right next to her half-empty cup of coffee. I began reaching out toward Nana's shoulder, but stopped midway. Good morning. Nana addressed me while I was stirring the frying pan. Good morning. I'm sorry for using the kitchen without permission. Oh, shucks, don't worry about it, sugar. It's my fault anyway. Y'all should have woken me up. You look like you were deep in thought.
Did I?
Nana, it sounded to laugh. I slid the fried egg over to the plate with the toast, while also adding some salad for garnish. I then left the counter with said plate in hand and placed it on the table Nana was sitting at. About yesterday,
Kinda went teens a bit crazy.
sorry about that.
What?
Never mind, it's nothing.
Y'all, I don't think I've ever had fried eggs with toast before.
Really? Interesting, that's like one of the most basic things you could put fried eggs with. I guess it's because she's a gourmet chef or some shit. She considered the contents of my plate. Oh, it's just an old habit. My housemate loved fried eggs. I see. If there wasn't at least one thing she liked on the plate, she wouldn't ever shut up about it.
Can I have a taste?
Go ahead. Nana held up a piece of toast with 3 fingers and extended it towards me. After I placed a slice of fried egg on it, she took a bite.
It's both salty and sweet. Pretty good, actually.
Thanks.
Can I have some more?
Sure. Nana thanked me and picked up another piece of toast. I put some fried eggs on it again.
Oh yeah, I heard y'all took a liking to our library. Auntie said she often sees you there.
Yes. The silence helps me relax.
Now, that place is full of ancient books and not much else. I doubt y'all find anything useful.
Perhaps you're right.
Now, there's a particular shelf behind the stairs I tend to frequent. It has some more modern novels, along with magazines about cooking and fashion.
I see you like keeping your things organized.
It all depends on the thing.
Do you not like that library?
Oh, it's not that. The place is a bit too silent for me, though. When I look high up at the ceiling, it makes me feel like I'm a dead fish sank to the bottom of the sea, on the seabed.
Oh.
All it contains is old information and records that are no longer relevant to our age.
See, they keep saying that all the records happened a long time ago. But how is that possible with the tips? How do the Narasaki tips? Because the Narasaki tips seem to take place in their own world as well. That's completely separate from the 2 worlds we know, the Sachiko world line and the Takako world line that we know.
It reminds me of old stuff like ancient rusted bicycles and cans that people fish out from the sea.
I thought you liked old things.
Now, I like old things that still serve a function. You can't work, then you're dead to little old me.
Nana suddenly made an awkward smile.
I'm sorry about yesterday. I was really goddamn drunk.
I placed the coffee cup on the table. When I looked up, I saw Nana covering her face with one hand.
I started running my mouth like some know-it-all. I'm getting all embarrassed just remembering it.
It's okay, I'm not upset for some reason.
Now, I sometimes forget to think about the consequences of my actions. Just like Takako. As I said before, she reminds me a lot of Takako.
Everyone does that sometimes. This reminds me of the worst essay I wrote in my life, back when I applied to an art school. I didn't know what to write about, so I began describing what kind of talents I had in minute detail. Normally, y'all write about your motivations and plans for the school year, but I did so many things that made me want to kill myself in retrospect. I always tell myself not to run my mouth, but it all falls apart the moment I get too excited about something. I do think Takako is nicer. And that's true, Takako is more childlike, yeah. Oh, well, we all fit into this world like puzzle pieces after all. I don't know if y'all are trying to help, but I'd appreciate it if you didn't bring that up again. Really? Oh. Well, I'll interpret it in a positive way this time. Nana made a faint smile. I ended up unable to contain a smile myself. We continued cheerfully chatting for a while. After we had finished, Nana picked up her empty plates from the table, walked behind the counter, and began washing them in the sink. She offered me a second cup of coffee, but I refused. Really? That's an interesting thing that, I wouldn't do that, but sure. If someone's offering me coffee, I'll take it. I had been feeling sleepy since morning, but I didn't feel like caffeine would help. With my head still feeling somewhat heavy, I looked around the cafeteria while sipping what remained of my coffee. Ever since coming here, I had been the only guest to use this huge room. When I thought about it that way, it all felt really extravagant. How can they afford to maintain this place? Okay, back to the wall pictures. For a while, I gazed at the lavish stained glass and the decorations on the lamps around it. Eventually, my eyes wandered to the pictures on the wall. Okay, here we go, back to Nanai and her mother and Lily. I wonder... Nanai's mother isn't the friend she's talking to. No, she can't be because Nanai is alive. The first one I looked at was the group picture with Nanai, her mother, and Lily. My gaze traveled further, passing by pictures of Nanai when she was little, then a well by the mansion that was no longer here. Okay, here we go! Here we go! Okay, I knew it! I knew it! As I gazed at Nanai's childhood pictures, I suddenly felt like something was off. I stopped on one particular picture and gave it a closer look. Nanai and some other child were playing in the plastic pool. The inner yard of the mansion was visible in the background. As I frowned, trying to figure out what was bothering me, I suddenly saw something in the corner of my eye. I glanced at the window and saw Narasaki walking through the inner yard. I knew something was up with her family. Something weird is going on with her family. Oh my god, this is so fucking exciting. Oh, I want to know what's going on. Narasaki passed by the road leading to the library. Damn, this track is hauntingly beautiful. An incinerator in the snow? Uh-oh. Oh, God. That's bringing back all sorts of Phoenix Wright memories. Oh, no. Oh, God. An incinerator at a snowy mountain resort? I hope you don't have any bridges nearby.
Oh my god. I will be right back. I have to take a little bathroom break. I will be right back. Oh god, sorry, I knocked the microphone. Sorry about that. Oh, sorry about that. Jeez. All right, let's see.
I left the cafeteria and followed her, eventually finding an incinerator just before the exit to the mountain path. Narasaki stood in front of it with her back turned to me. I took a slow step forward, trying not to alert her.
Damn it.
However, I ended up stepping on a dry tree twig, which cracked loudly under my foot.
Hey.
She turned around and took one hand out of her pocket to greet me. I continued toward Narasaki while all the twigs and withered leaves popped and cracked under my feet.
I wanted to
surprise you, but it's impossible on a road like this. Narasaki's usually sleepy-looking eyes slightly widened.
Okay. Please, Oe, take a rest, okay?
If you're feeling sick, please take a rest, alright? I hope you feel better soon. Please sleep. Go to sleep. Take a rest.
I don't recall you being the type to pull cute little pranks.
Hey, even I can enjoy stuff like that when I'm in a good mood.
Oh?
Narasaki smiled. I lined up next to her and looked at the incinerator. What are you doing?
I was taking a walk when I found a nice place to warm up. Temperature really dropped down this morning, didn't it?
It sure did. Indeed. Crimson light illuminated her from behind. The tongues of the flame danced wildly within the central hole of the incinerator. Narasaki's red locks, swaying in the hot wind, looked almost like they were on fire. Very intimidating.
I was reading the bird encyclopedia and felt like trying to find some specimens out in the wild. So I went out into the forest. You wouldn't believe how cold it was. Still, the fog covering the area lent the scenery an alluring, otherworldly quality.
I guess she was inspired by Lily's story. But this is just... How is she able to do things like that if she's in Sachiko's body? She's gotta be, with all her abilities and shit, she's gotta be more than a mere alternate personality. Like, she has to be. Did you find your birds in the end?
I heard all sorts of chirping, but I could only spot a few through the fog. The best one was a scaly thrush sitting on the stem of a winter sweet.
That was quite the charming sight. That sounds nice. I would like to see that too.
Better wear a thicker coat then. The forest's freezing cold in the morning.
Noted. Narasaki was right. I could already feel the cold wind robbing me of heat. I took a step forward, gazing at the dancing flame in the incinerator's mouth. I glanced at Narasaki, spotting a stain of soot or perhaps dirt on her face. While taking a closer look, I realized that the sleeves of her white coat were covered in dirt too, just like the doll. How far did you go?
I got up pretty early, so I must have wandered quite far into the woods.
After I pointed out the stain on her face, she brushed it off with her hand. I suppose you were never one to show restraint.
I got a sudden job request, so I'm leaving in the evening. It's not every day I can come so deeply into the mountains, so I figured I'd experience as much of the place as possible to make sure I wouldn't regret it later.
Now, is she telling a lie? Is she gonna go inside Sachiko's mind again? Because if she can be in a different place as far away from Sachiko at the same time, then she's definitely not an alternate personality. But it really seemed like she was. Well, that was certainly sudden.
That's how jobs work.
I suppose so. What's your plan for me?
You haven't been hallucinating or hearing things lately, correct?
Perhaps not right now, but who knows when I might relapse. Narasaki made a troubled face and shook her head.
To be honest, I wasn't planning to come here to begin with. For one, you seem to be getting better. But there was also the possibility that I myself could end up facilitating your hallucinations. Nonetheless, If something does happen, don't be afraid to turn to the people here for help. Na and I will understand. And it seems like Lily actually has experience with your kind of condition. As for Kozue, she'll lend you an ear at least. She may be little, but she's smart. They're all on your side.
Narasaki threw the dry twig she'd been holding into the incinerator. There was a low pop, and a trace of ash burst into the air. Well, I guess I'll survive. I observed the black burning lump of soot, but it soon fell apart and lost its prior shape. A wisp of smoke billowed from the chimney, carrying the excess ash away. I wonder what they were burning here.
No idea. No matter what it was, just ash now. Oh god, I hope it's not something horrible.
Oh, that's a sad way to put it.
Not really. Ash rises into the air and melts with clouds, only to return to the earth with rain. It fertilizes the ground and gives birth to plants. And eventually those plants get digested by animals and turned into meat. There are lots of things you can do, even after you become ash.
So you can still return to life even from that state. I wonder if I could return to being myself after traveling all over the world as Ash.
Oh, that'd be another person at that point. It'd be interesting if they retained your personality, but they wouldn't know me. And I wouldn't know them.
Narasaki smiled as she gazed in front of her.
The human body has about 60 trillion cells, and they keep dying and being replaced by fresh ones. The cells in the head have a somewhat longer lifespan, but they all get replaced within a year or so as well. If you look at it like that, you're no longer the same person you were a year ago. Well, that's a comforting thought. That's so cool.
We both chuckled.
No one would notice, though. The whole ship of Theseus thing.
Narasaki replied with a smile. We then spent some time silently gazing at the flames and their prey in the incinerator. I think we should head back. We might catch a cold out here.
Oh, I think we should head back. You might catch a cold out here.
Narasaki most likely noticed me rubbing my arms. Okay, I said, and I returned to the mansion with her. After a couple of steps, I turned behind to look at the incinerator again.
What's wrong?
Narasaki, who had been walking in front of me, also turned around. I felt like something had pricked my heart. I am getting a really bad feeling about this. It was a very faint feeling, but I was certain it wasn't just my imagination. I focused on the sensation, trying to submerge myself into the darker corner of my mind, where the answer most likely lay, but couldn't quite succeed. I came to when Narasaki placed her hand on my shoulder.
Did you remember something bad?
After touching my face to confirm my expression, I shook my head. Why do you ask?
Because you look a little pale. Yeah, I am getting a really bad feeling about this. Is there a person being burned?
Really? I began walking towards the inner yard, with Narasaki trailing behind me.
Speaking of which, you two are planning to make a rest area in here, aren't you?
Asked Narasaki as we reached the lobby. Nanai wants to use this corner for it.
You sure there's enough space?
It's not like that many people come here. At least according to Nanai.
Huh.
Besides, the place is more atmospheric when it's a bit cramped.
Really? Well, I'm not really an expert on artistic things, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I'm getting really worried about that. As I scanned my memory from the layout we decided on with Nanai, my heart began beating faster as I realized the incinerator and the smoke billowing from its chimney earlier reminded me of a funeral. I am getting a really bad feeling. Is Lily okay? But that was all. I kept telling myself there was nothing more to it. Oh God. Lily and Kozue are the other two. Oh God, that would be really bad.
If you got no other plans, I'd recommend going to sleep early tonight.
All I've done recently was sleep, I said while recalling all my napping spots across the mansion.
Well, you came here to take a break from work, didn't you? If you feel sleepy, then sleep to your heart's content when you still have the chance. No one's gonna drag you out of bed here.
Now that Narasaki mentioned it, I did indeed feel somewhat drowsy. I felt like I'd fall asleep as soon as I hit the bed. I suppose you have a point. It wasn't like I had anything important to do here, so I listened to my doctor and went straight to my room. Narasaki climbed the stairs and walked down the corridor with me, almost like some kind of bodyguard. The warm air caressed my chilled body as I opened the door. It was much warmer than I thought, so I glanced at the heater, but it was off. I hung my coat on the back of the chair and sat down on the bed. Narasaki closed the curtains and began fiddling with the heater, trying to set the most comfortable temperature. I lay down in the bed, closed my eyes, and opened them again to look at Narasaki. She was on her way to leave the room. I addressed her back, making her turn around. I wanted to thank her, but I wasn't entirely sure what for.
You want me to stay by your side until you fall asleep?
Narasaki returned and sat down in the chair. We spent some time chatting. She remained seated in the chair while I was still lying in the bed. Her voice relaxed me.
You need imagination for that kind of work.
She made a remark about the company Takako and I found it.
Have you ever thought of ideas as a spring?
Not really. But I remember Takako saying something along those lines. She likened them to a well, though. I think she said that every person had their own well inside them, and that all the feelings they had felt up until that point were stored there. And to convey them to other people, you had to scoop them out of your well and carry them to others. But not much can fit into the palms of your hands, and you can't avoid spilling some along the way. So only a fraction gets conveyed in the end.
Wow, that's something really deep for Takako. Interesting. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That's why you've got to work for it. You've got to make yourself a bucket. Words, music, and pictures are manifestations of it in the real world. People eventually discover different vessels for their soul.
That's an interesting metaphor.
Takako must have done a good job if you really think that.
I see. Indeed, there was something in her well. And you were truly in love with her.
Where did that come from?
You always cheer up when you start talking about her. You do. You'll bring her up all the time. Sachiko. In a happy way.
Really?
Oh, God.
I was asleep before I realized it. And likely due to how often I'd slept during the day, I'd yet another dream. I, as a little child, was in a small, round room. There were countless familiar-looking toys scattered across the floor.
And the freaking train. God damn it.
Someone was waiting for me by the door. Beyond it was a special waterway built by that person. Narasaki was already gone when I opened my eyes. I glanced at the door and remembered how she left. I'm glad I have someone like you to rely on, I said, still on the bed. No one truly cares about me now that Takako's gone.
Oh, God. Is that Takako? Hey, you've got plenty of friends in the office.
Yes, but it's different when you've known someone for most of your life. When I'm talking with you, I always feel like I've returned to the past.
Oh. She's just recalling. Thank you, Jackie. Okay. Hey, you got plenty of friends in the office. Thank you. I was confused. Okay. Because she just said that Narasaki had left. Is that so?
Narasaki broke her gaze. She smiled and wished me good night. I did the same and the door closed.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
I woke up at the same time as usual. I would usually wake up at the same time regardless of my schedule. I would not run late for work, but that also meant that even if I stayed late on the weekend, I would still end up waking up early the next day. That skill earned me a supplementary prize for attendance in high school, but sometimes it felt more like a curse. It hadn't been working quite as well lately, probably due to how severely exhausted I was. But this morning, everything suddenly went back to normal, and I was already up at around 7 a.m. It had been a while since my last dream, too. I couldn't remember when I went to sleep yesterday, so I decided to read the book I'd left by the bed to kill some time. But I wasn't feeling sleepy even after 30 minutes of reading. I must have slept well last night, so I pulled myself together and got out of bed.
Hey, Kozue.
I passed by the flower beds in the inner yard and circled around the buildings to see Kozue standing among the bamboo trees by the stone fence. She kept looking at both the ground and a piece of paper in her hand. What are you doing? I came closer to her and she showed me the black and white picture she held. Is this the family picture? It depicted a stone well. I was looking for an old well. There stood an ancient-looking, moss-covered well in front of us. I peeked down into it, seeing only muddy water. Looks like you found it. Yep. Do you know how old that picture is? It was taken 6 years ago.
What?
I found it in the pamphlet you can get at the station. The well looked a lot nicer in the picture. The stones it was made of had now cracked, with a variety of vegetation growing all over it.
Damn.
Okay. The planks covering it seemed to be rotting away, too. I didn't realize it deteriorated so fast when not used. Kozue returned the picture to the pile and put it in her bag. Why were you looking for an abandoned well, anyway? I thought I could find a ghost here. The area was surrounded by buildings and woods, keeping it perpetually shaded. I could almost believe one would meet a ghost or two here at night. I heard the cry of a bird from the direction of the inner yard. Kozue turned to me. She gave me a hard look, narrowing her round eyes. I just wanted to see where it was after looking at the picture. Perhaps she intended that part about ghosts as a joke. I see. What are you doing here? I was looking for someone. Huh? I was the only one here all morning. I see. Thanks. I thanked her and shifted my gaze to the well. It was covered with planks, but one seemed to have gone missing, revealing the well's interior through the gap. Kozo and I both peered into the darkness of the well. I tried looking for the penguin toy we talked about the other day, but I couldn't find it in the end, said Kozue, her eyes not leaving the well. All I found was this. It was in a vase in our living room. She pulled something out of her pocket and held out her hand in front of me. When I opened my palm, she placed a small figurine of a black penguin on it. I kept wondering when the two of us ever discussed penguins. So she does have Narasaki's body, or rather vice versa, I mean. I used to hide important things in that vase when I was little. I also found a watch Grandpa gave me, some beads and a toy ring inside it. Seeing all those nostalgic things brought back memories. When the penguin toy ran out of batteries, I took the black one out from the ice slide and played with it alone for a while. I thought it was cursed to only ever climb up the mountain and slide back down it again, but it ended up joining the games of the other toys in my room. Though somehow it ended up in that vase. Do you think things ultimately turned out well for him? Perhaps. The penguin lay on its belly in my palm, its eyes gazing upward. It didn't appear unhappy, at least. You can have it, said Kozue. Isn't it important for you, though? Ah, don't sweat it.
I'm too old to be playing with things like that anyway. And you'll be leaving soon, right? It could be something to remind you of this trip. Of course you can throw it away if you don't want it. I don't freaking care.
I couldn't help but feeling surprised. Her giving me a present like that probably meant she didn't want me to forget her. I was under the impression she wasn't all that interested in other people, and preferred to stay away from this kind of relationship. But I guess perhaps I was wrong. Thank you. I'll make sure to take good care of it. Kozue pulled her left sleeve up and looked at the watch on her exposed wrist, while I slid the penguin into the pocket of my jacket. I'm meeting Lily's architect friend today. After spending so much time researching this mansion, I guess I ended up being interested in the person who actually built it.
Oh, that's a good idea. They might not be all that welcoming of that idea, though.
I wouldn't be so sure of that. It's actually pretty refreshing to have someone younger be interested in your work.
I hope that's true.
Kozue stole another glance at the well, then turned towards the path she had come from.
I'll be on my way now.
Oh,
Where is Lily waiting for you?
in front of the mansion.
We can go together then.
There was no path in the woods beyond the well, so I joined Kozue and turned back towards the way I'd come from. We parted ways as we reached the mansion. I circled around the mansion, emerging in its front entrance. Upon reaching the parking lot, I spotted an old Japanese bike in the shade of the trees. There was not a single car in sight, though.
Are y'all looking for something?
As I began looking around, Nanai suddenly appeared from beyond the open front doors. I'm looking for Narasaki.
Who? I knew it. Okay, this is when she finds out. Okay.
You haven't seen her?
You're the first person I met today.
I see.
Okay, so she's not aware of that. Yeah, I think, yeah, she's definitely... Narasaki is somehow some kind of alternate personality of hers, but is apparently also able to do things while Sachiko is conscious.
I heard the grandfather clock in the lobby strike the hour.
If y'all are not in a hurry, how about we have lunch together?
I looked up at the sky. There were no clouds, only some dry, warm sunlight. Okay. Nan and I looked out the window as we enjoyed our post-meal coffee.
There's not a single cloud in the sky today.
Looks like a sunburn waiting to happen. I've heard the sun is more potent in the mountains. Is that true?
Oh, ultraviolet rays apparently get stronger here because the atmosphere is thinner, but don't worry, I come well prepared. Look.
Nana rolled up her sleeve and showed me her white forearm.
I've got some homemade sunscreen. Wanna try it?
Thanks, but I've brought my own, so I'm okay.
If y'all say so.
Nana shifted her position, lowering her arms. I turned to the window to see her combing her front hair in the reflection. I wonder what the weather is going to be tomorrow. I was thinking of going hiking.
That's nice. Should be clear weather tomorrow. Do you want to come? I do, but I'm not sure I can make it. Nana hid her hands behind her back and made a deeply sad face. She explained that she had to participate in a local inn proprietor meeting tomorrow from the early morning. Is that why y'all were looking for this Narasaki person? I nodded. Yes, she's an old friend. Can y'all tell me what she looks like? I'll tell her about your plans if I see her. Well, she's a tall woman with red hair. Her mannerisms and speech might come off as a bit masculine, I guess. Okay, got it. If you see her, tell her I was looking for her. Will do! Are you sure you don't know her? She was staying here. Oh, we're closed right now. I thought I already told you. That's right. You did. The cafeteria door suddenly opened. I'm sorry. Did I intrude? Lily stood in the entrance. Not really. Nana, could y'all come over here for a spell? I'm sorry. I gotta go. Okay. Just leave the place here. Okay. Nana apologized to me and stood up. Okay. Sorry for interrupting y'all in the middle of conversation. Well, that's okay. But I thought we agreed you wouldn't call me Nana in front of people. We did? I could hear a bit of their conversation beyond the door. I finished my cold coffee and brought the cup to the kitchen along with Nana's. I stood there for a few moments when I suddenly heard a ringing sound. I walked toward its source. I left the cafeteria and continued to the lobby. The big black and somewhat antique-looking telephone on the counter was ringing. How is this possible? How is this possible? How? Wait, okay, now we're seeing Sachiko and Nana conscious at the same time? What the actual fuck? And she's taking a train. How is this happening? Apparition, are the two scenes, is this one of the two scenes that you're talking about? Is this the first or the second of the two scenes? The first, okay. I looked out at the sea beyond the window. The rays of the setting sun painted the interior of the train car in orange. Clink, clink. The train car rocked back and forth as it traveled along the rails. I opened my eyes and looked around. A row of seats lined each wall of the car. An old woman and a girl, likely her grandchild, sat further away from me on the same long seat. The child was kneeling on the seat, looking out the window. The old woman looked at the same scenery from the corner of her eye. Her thin hand, resting on her knees, had a golden watch on its wrist. In front of me sat a middle-aged man in a suit, reading a black notebook. A little bit further away, a high school girl in her uniform had nodded off. That's good. I heard brief fragments of the conversation two clerks were having nearby.
You've chosen the right woman. She's smart and works hard.
The other man nodded.
I'll admit,
Her being a beaut played the whole role when I chose her, but I was mostly attracted to her smarts. I still sometimes feel like a child around her.
The other man nodded again.
well, the most important thing is that you're happy.
The well-built clerk that had his sleeves rolled up emphasized the word happy. The tall, handsome man nodded.
We can certainly agree on that point.
There was an advertisement above them, showcasing a hot springs establishment. The words "once-in-a-lifetime prices" were floating above the scene-colored scene of Beppu Bay.
Oh, that's a name you can't say without smiling.
Beppu Bay, Beppu Bay, Beppu Bay. Beep-bop-boop-bop-bop-bip-bop-bop-bop. An electronic voice burst out from the speakers, announcing the next stop. Soon after, the train began to slow down with a metallic shrill.
Yes.
The doors opened and a young woman in a white shirt stepped into the car. Her hair had been let down on one side, and she held a book with the words "How to Live" printed on it. She sat down in the seat diagonally from me and opened up the book to read.
Is she a new character?
The middle-aged man in a suit left the car at the next station. After 2 more stops, I was the only one left in the car. The electronic voice announced that the next stop would be the last. I stood up and got out of the train car.
How is this possible? How is this possible?
I stepped onto the stone platform. It smelled like dried leaves. Cool, humid sea breeze blew up the mountain slope. I heard the rustling of the grass. The station was deserted, so I walked around for a bit. I managed to make out the name of the station with a rusted ancient-looking iron plate, but whatever was written on the backrest of the faded plastic bench, which probably used to be blue, was completely illegible. There was no one at the wooden ticket gate either. "I'm sorry, could I borrow a phone?" I received no reply. The area beyond the ticket window was completely empty. I passed through the great gate and walked to the ivory public telephone I spotted her further away.
She's able to call a telephone. While Sachiko is somewhere else.
I could hear the long blades of grass rustling in the wind outside. I checked the clock on the wall, then picked up the receiver, stuck a coin into the coin slot, and turned the dial a few times. After a few beeps, someone picked up the phone on the other end. "Hello? Narasaki. Where are you right now?"
I'm at the station. Oh, hello?
Hello?
Narasaki? Where are you right now?
I'm at the station.
The station? What about your car?
It's close by. I wanted to take a little detour.
Oh, that's Sachiko. Okay. Hello?
Oh, hello?
Narasaki? Where are you right now?
I'm at the station.
The station? What about your car?
It's close by. I wanted to take a little detour. Sachiko's voice came a bit too loud from the receiver. I scratched my ear.
So that was the phone call.
I see. Coming by car was a bad idea after all. Driving through mountain roads can completely wreck your hips.
When did you leave? You didn't say a word, so I was worried.
I left early in the morning. I didn't want to needlessly wake you, which is why I'm calling now.
I wouldn't have minded.
Being all ceremonious like that only makes it harder to say goodbye.
If you say so. But just so you know, I spent the entire day looking for you.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. But why?
I didn't see you anywhere, so I got worried. It might sound weird, but I almost felt like you vanished into thin air or something.
I let out a laugh, imagining your indignant face on the other end of the line.
I asked Nana about you, and she said he never met you. I was worried that maybe there was something wrong happening with me again. I didn't pursue the conversation, but you were staying at the mansion, right? Did you check in with Lily or something?
That's right. If you don't believe me, you can ask her yourself.
No, it's okay.
Oh yeah, there was one thing I wanted to tell you.
What?
You might start forgetting things a lot for a while now. Why? Why? It's that memory disease again. Is this some kind of like version of Hinamizawa syndrome or some shit? Like what the fuck? Wait, what the fuck is going on? It's like...
Is that related to my symptoms?
Yeah. You could say it's a side effect of you getting better. It won't last for long though, so don't be worried. The same thing happened with Lily's friend. What is going on? Just keep on doing what you always have, and you'll soon forget what's even bothering you. Narasaki. Sachiko made a pause, as though contemplating what I'd said. I waited for her to reply.
Okay. I understand.
Exactly, Void Dweller. That sounds super suspicious. She replied. When did you say you were coming back to Tokyo?
In 2 days. I'll be leaving at noon.
I switched the receiver to my other hand and leaned against the wall. The sound of rustling grass reached me from the outside of the station.
I'll drop by your clinic when I get back.
Your symptoms will have probably passed by then. You did something, Narasaki. What did you do? Did you do something in the mental world? Inside her inner world?
Talking to you seems to help calm me down. Whenever you're free is fine by me. When do you think our next meeting could be?
It's almost like rhyming here. The next one, huh? There's something I want to look up when I get back, so it depends on that, I guess.
Look something up?
What's that? Oh. As Sachiko contemplated what I could have meant, the phone let out a clicking sound, letting me know that one of my coins had just been swallowed. Ugh. I'm running out of coins.
Couldn't you get more somewhere around there?
Unfortunately, I'm stuck at this ghost town of a station. Anyway, I doubt it's going to take that long, so I'll call you back tomorrow.
This same black phone?
Yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. I'll call the same number I'm calling now. Let's see, you can wait for my call around 5 o'clock in the evening.
5 o'clock. Same phone. Gotcha.
Good. But if I somehow end up not calling until it gets dark, that means something urgent came up, so you shouldn't waste too much time waiting.
Okay? Thank you for everything.
I don't like how dependent on Narasaki Sachiko is being. It's making me really suspicious, I have to say. Narasaki is just being really suspicious lately. Don't worry about it. We're old friends, aren't we? See, that statement is setting off red flags like crazy.
Yeah. See you around then.
Bye. Her voice grew a bit more distant, and as I heard her put the receiver down, I did the same with mine. And with that, my last coin was swallowed up. Ugh.
Why would she even need coins if she's like a construct?
Chapter 7. Labyrinth. Yep, that was it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what you're talking about. Yep, back to Takako. Okay. My god, this story... Just when you think you start understanding shit, it's just getting even crazier. What in the world is going on? And yeah, really good timing, too. It's pretty much exactly 2 hours. Holy shit. This story is just getting more and more insane. The final entry in the diary. Oh, wow. Okay. Like, I am not trusting Narasaki as in the least now. She seems ultra suspicious. Like, and Sachiko is becoming really dependent on her. She definitely has some kind of ulterior motive. I am just... Oh my god. I think we're going to find out more about Sanai and the Kozue in Takako's world. I just think that... Oh my god. Seriously. Oh my god. Like, she's definitely more than just a simple alternate personality. If she's able to freaking call through the phone, like shit, like, why would she even need coins? She's on the train on her own. Like, seriously. That's just like... She is able to be conscious at the same time. Like, of course she is, but able to be doing something else at the same time. Like, I don't know what in the world is... What is Narasaki? What is she? Sure, thank you, Blue Shifting. I am just so enthralled by this story, seriously. And now it looks like on Takako's side, she'll be arguing some things, but I do not trust Narasaki right now. I do not trust her at all. She gave me that vibe in the beginning, like it feels like almost she's manipulating Sachiko, who, for someone so mature, I think she's quite vulnerable and easily led. I gotta say. I think that, which probably, is a very interesting, sure, Void Dweller, you can definitely share, anyone, if you'd love to share your speculations for what's happening on Discord, please do so. I would love to read them. Oh my god. Okay, tomorrow we're going to go back to Turnabout of the Golden Witch, and then in 2 days we will continue this. I can't wait, you guys. I cannot wait. So until then, I will say, so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, good night. You are all the sweetest of hearts. See ya.